أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. واعتصموا بحبل الله جميعا ولا تفرقوا واذكروا نعمة الله عليكم إذ كنتم أعداء فألف بين قلوبكم فأصبحتم بنعمته إخوانا وكنتم على شفا حفرة من النار فأنقذكم منها كذلك يبين الله لكم آياته لعلكم تهتدون. صدق الله العظيم.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بعون الله نفتتح أعمال القمة العربية الإسلامية الطارئة لبحث الهجوم الإسرائيلي على دولة قطر.
To discuss the Israeli aggression on the state of Qatar. My brothers, in the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate, Your Highnesses, Your Excellences, distinguished guests, peace and blessing of Allah be upon you. I would like to welcome you to your second homeland, Doha, and I thank you for responding to the invitation for holding this urgent summit. The capital of my country, Doha, in which we are holding this summit, has been subject to an attack, during which they targeted one of the houses in which the families of the political leadership of Hamas and its negotiating delegate resided. And this is in a residential area that has diplomatic corpses and schools. And as a result of this aggression, 6 martyrs died, one of which is a Qatari citizen who serves in the internal security of Qatar, and 18 individuals were injured. The citizens of this safe country and its residents were shocked, and the whole world was shocked as well. Not because this aggression is a flagrant violation of the sovereignty of a country and its violation of international charters and laws, but also due to the specific conditions surrounding this terrorist attack. Qatar, that is 1,000 miles away from the place where the war planes flew, is a mediating country. Over 2 years exerted strenuous efforts to reach a settlement to put an end to the destructive killing war launched against the Palestinians in Gaza Strip that has transformed into a genocide. And we are negotiating for the release of the Israeli hostages, and Doha is hosting during these negotiations delegates from Hamas and Israel. And the mediation has achieved a lot in cooperation with Egypt and the United States. And we were able to liberate 135 hostages, and 2 truces and ceasefires happened in 2024 and 2025, as well as the release of hundreds of Palestinian prisoners. But Israel continued its war, and we continued our mediation, looking forward to reaching a permanent ceasefire and the release of all hostages, as well as the withdrawal of Israel from Gaza Strip, the access of the humanitarian aid, as well as releasing Palestinian prisoners. This was our objective. When the aggression happened last 9th of September, the political leadership of Hamas was studying a U.S. proposal that they received from us and from the Egyptians. And it is clear that Israel, that is supposed to be the other negotiating party, at least within the context of this mediation, was aware of this meeting held in a known place that is visited by diplomats, journalists, and others. And it decided to assassinate negotiators who are studying a U.S. proposal to respond to it. Did you hear before about something similar? A state working in a methodological manner, exerting its efforts to reach a mediation, is being attacked by the country that is part of the negotiations. If Israel wants to assassinate the political leadership of Hamas, why are they negotiating with them then? And if they want to negotiate for the release of hostages, why do they want to assassinate those who can hold negotiations with it? And how can we receive in our country Israeli delegates for negotiations while those who send these delegates plan to bombard this country? These questions are not waiting for answers. They show only why it is right to say that this aggression is in fact a flagrant aggression that cannot be dealt with, as there are main simple principles in dealing between humans, and those who have the wisdom and enough courage cannot even deal with what we are dealing with, and no one can expect that there are people who are not concerned at least with these principles and they mean nothing to him. The second fact that is clear before us all is that he who works in a methodological manner to assassinate the other party wants to stop the negotiations, while our purpose of these negotiations is to release the hostages. And this means that they are making false information, and the negotiations for them is just part of the war and a political tactic that accompanies war, and a method to blindfold the Israeli public opinion. When the public opinion is against him, he sends a negotiating delegate, but he is failing the negotiations with the other hand. This is the method followed by the Israelis up till now. And if the ceasefire and the end of war is the price of releasing the hostages, he does not want the hostages. He wants only to turn Gaza into an unlivable area to evacuate it from its people. He believes in what is called the full, complete, or great land of Israel, and he is seizing the opportunity of the war to expand the settlements and to change the existing status in Jerusalem, as well as planning to operations to take part of the West Bank. The government of Israel thinks that is putting the Arabs in front of different realities, and then it follows it with new facts so that they would forget the old facts and negotiation for the new ones. The third truth that this aggression on our sovereignty showed is that the head of the Israeli government, who is proud of changing the face of the Middle East in the past 2 years, really intends to make Israel intervene in any place whenever it wants. He is dreaming that the whole Arab region would be a region of Israeli hegemony, and this is a very strange and very dangerous idea. The settlers want to send the Israeli warplanes to the different countries in the region as a normal act. In Lebanon, they face the Lebanese government with a U.S. paper for bombarding and assassination, and they want to drag the country into a civil war. And for Syria, the president of the government announces that there is no negotiation for occupied Golan, and he acts as if the area south Damascus is practically an area for the hegemony of Israel that wants to divide Syria. We are confident that these plans are not going to be implemented. granted. Distinguished guests, Israel is claiming that it is a democracy surrounded by enemies, while in fact it's building an apartheid system, as well as launching a genocide and war during which it committed crimes that do not know red lines. And the head of its government announced a few days ago that he prevented establishing a Palestinian state, and such a state won't be established in the future. He is an enemy to the Palestinian Authority, and he is against all the agreements according to which the Palestinian Authority that was established. Is the Palestinian Authority against Israel? Two neighboring countries that signed peace accords and were committed to it, and other two countries are committed to the Arab Peace Initiative and are looking for a settlement through which they would be able to get back their occupied lands. And if Israel accepts the Arab Peace Initiative, it would have saved the area and the region and itself all these disasters. But it is not against peace with our neighboring countries, but it wants to impose its will on them all. And anyone who objects according to their false claims that are unbelieved by anyone is against Semitism, or he is an enemy and a terrorist, while the government in Israel is committing racist acts. And all these three facts need not to suffice by holding an urgent summit, but to take concrete steps to face this craziness of power and looking forward to bloodshedding by the Israeli government, as it results in a lot of genocide, as well as the spread of settlements. Secondly, the flagrant intervention in the sovereignty of Arab countries, and the last but not least, this aggression on my country, the peacemaking country that used its diplomacy to peacefully settle disputes, and it is being appreciated and respected for that everywhere. And we are keen on undertaking all measures needed and could be taken according to the international law to face this Israeli aggression. Once more, I would like to welcome you and thank you again, and I wish this summit the best in taking practical, firm steps that would respond to our conscience and the aspirations of our peoples. Thank you, and peace be upon you. And now I would like to give the floor to Mr. Hussein Ibrahim Taha, the Secretary General of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate, peace and blessing be upon Prophet Muhammad.
Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. J'ai l'honneur de vous, de tout d'abord, procéder à votre Altesse.
Your Excellency, the Secretary General of the League of Arab States, Your Highnesses, Your Excellences, at the beginning I would like to extend thanks to Emir for this kind invitation from Qatar for holding this Arab-Islamic urgent summit, and I would like to thank you for holding this meeting, and we would like to extend our greetings and our support to you all against this Israeli attack on Qatar. And it is an opportunity for Muslim and Arab countries to take a firm status and stance against this violence and this aggression. Your Excellencies, this initiative to hold this conference is part of the Qatari initiatives to enhance cooperation and to standardize the Muslim and Arab stances. The OIC today is heightening its condemnation of this flagrant aggression on the peace and stability of Qatar, as well as violating the international law and UN Charter. And OIC is expressing its support to Qatar and supporting all the procedures undertaken by Qatar to protect its security and its sovereignty. And we'd like to call upon the international community and in particular the Security Council to shoulder its responsibility and to hold Israel accountable for all its crimes, as well as committing it to putting an end to its dangerous continuous aggressions. This Israeli attack on the state of Qatar is an extension of the crimes committed against the Palestinians and their territories and all the Palestinian lands. And in this context, we would like to renew emphasizing the importance of implementing the Security Council resolutions, especially regarding the ceasefire, in addition to providing humanitarian aid in a sustainable manner to all parts of Gaza Strip, in addition to the withdrawal of the Israeli occupying forces from the Gaza Strip, and enabling the Palestinian government and authority to shoulder its responsibility in Gaza Strip. We would like to emphasize in this summit our support to the outcomes of the International Conference for Settling the Palestinian Cause, as well as our support to implementing the two-state solution in a manner that would enable the Palestinians to practice their just rights, including the right of autonomy, in addition to symbolizing his sovereignty and the sovereignty of his state according to the borders of 1967, and with East Jerusalem as its capital according to the Security Council relevant resolutions and the Arab Peace Initiative. We are confident that the outcomes of this summit would enhance the Arab-Islamic solidarity with the state of Qatar and would unify our efforts and our stances. Thank you and peace be upon you. And now I would like to give the floor to Mr. Ahmed Abu Al-Ghaid, the Secretary General of the League of Arab States, to deliver his speech. Your Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad bin Khalifa Al-Thani, the Prince of the State of Qatar, Your Highnesses, Your Excellences, the Kings, Presidents, and Heads of Governments, ladies and gentlemen. The Israeli crime through the aggression on the Qatari sovereignty has exceeded all limits and exceeded every tradition, every norm, and every principle that was agreed upon by humans over decades, not to attack the mediators and not to target the negotiators. And the most dangerous thing is that those who started this barbaric attack consider that what they are doing is justified. And unfortunately, they think that they can go to unprecedented levels of barbarism, as well as violating the international norms without being held accountable. Let me announce some of the brief points. First, the attack on civilians, negotiators, and mediators is not an act of courage or honor, but it is an act of cowardness. And being proud of doing it reflects a level of unethical acts that have not been witnessed in the relations between countries before. Second, this summit was not held only to show solidarity to Qatar, although it is a duty on part of every Arab and Muslim whose conscience was pricked by this coward act. But the summit also sends a message to the international community, a message that says enough silence for the acts of this rogue state that has ignited fire and wars in the region and starved and killed without being held accountable, and its leaders want to achieve their personal desires or due to their beliefs. They want us to get back to the rule of the forests. Thirdly, being silent towards this crime is a crime, and being silent to violating the law undermines the international system. Silence against barbarism and crimes in Gaza over 2 years led to enhancing the belief of the leaders of the occupation that every act can be done and every crime can enjoy impunity. So they started spreading destruction in different countries, and they are igniting fire all over the whole region as if the whole world went back to the dark ages after we thought that we have left the dark ages long time ago. Those who lead the occupying state is needed to stand in front of the International Court of Justice and the International Criminal Court, and we call upon all legal practitioners and those who have principles in the world to show solidarity in prosecuting all the war criminals who are committing genocide in Gaza and violate the sovereignty of a number of countries in the region under different justifications and pretexts that are not there in any international law. Fourth, Mr. President, let me send a message to the Israeli people. What your government is doing in your name won't never be forgotten, and the crimes won't be forgotten, and killing 36,000 and the starvation of Palestinians and their displacement would never be forgotten. And this last aggression on a country that has always sought to reach an agreement for ceasefire and to survive humans from death, including Israeli hostages, would never be forgotten as well. What is done by the government of Israel in your name is destroying every foundation for peaceful coexistence in the region in the future and puts the coming generations in front of a dark future in which spread of struggle and war is there. And this is what is done by a rogue country in the region and in the whole world. Thank you, Mr. President. You have in front of you the draft agenda as well as the draft program for your adoption. Due to the fact that we did not receive any remarks, we decide to endorse and adopt the work program and the agenda. And now, the speeches of the presidents of the countries, Mr. Mohammed Shia al-Sudani, the Prime Minister of Iraq, and the current President of the League of Arab States. Thank you very much in the name of Allah, most merciful, most compassionate. Your Highness, the Prince of the State of Qatar, Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, peace and blessing of Allah be upon you. I stand before you today to express the official and the popular stance of Iraq, renewing our commitment towards the collective stance towards the developments in the whole region and in Doha, the capital of the brotherly state of Qatar, regarding the attack on a meeting that wanted to stop bloodshedding in Gaza and to protect civilians. This aggression represents a dangerous escalation and a violation of the international law, as well as the sanctity of diplomatic action, and it jeopardizes the efforts aiming at aborting the crisis. In light of the diplomatic efforts played by Qatar through its mediation, it sends a negative message that kills every opportunity to a peaceful solution. the occupying authorities enjoy impunity, and that's why they are violating the UN Charter and international law, which is jeopardizing international peace and security, and it expands the struggle in our region, and it is dangerous to the national security of all our countries. And it reaches the level of talking about changing international borders by using power in a precedence that violates the international law and opens the door to chaos and the dismantling of the international rules. And the spread of these policies would lead to further instability and won't achieve security to any party, but it would increase the vicious circle of violence, especially with the starvation and genocide policies. What is taking place in Gaza and the West Bank, and the violence and the forced evacuation of people, as well as the destruction of infrastructure, is not just a violation of international and humanitarian laws, but it exceeds this to creating human unprecedented suffering, as well as threatening the international peace and security. Here, we would like to emphasize that the security and stability of any Arab or Islamic country is an integral part of our collective security, and the different international organizations and UN agencies and the main countries members in these organizations should shoulder their legal and ethical responsibilities towards these damages against the international system. Distinguished leaders, the current developments necessitate moving from the circle of condemnation to coordinated collective action due to our common responsibility. I suggest the following. First, making an Arab-Islamic unified stance denouncing the aggression on the brotherly state of Qatar, as well as calling for international steps to make the aggressor shoulder his responsibility and to be held accountable at the international level. Secondly, dealing with any targeting of Arab and Islamic countries as a threat to our joint national security, which necessitate diplomatic and political consolidated actions, as well as deterring steps to prevent the recurrence of these aggressions. Thirdly, seriously work on forming an Islamic alliance comprised of Arab and Islamic countries that would shoulder the responsibility of finding common opportunities to face security and economic challenges that our peoples are facing. Fourth, forming an Arab-Islamic contact group that would head to the International Security Council and the UN General Assembly and the EU and the rest of international organizations to express our position and to defend the rights of our peoples. Fifth, developing a comprehensive roadmap to reach ceasefire in Gaza under international supervision, followed by a program for the reconstruction of Gaza up till a political path that secure the just rights of the Palestinians, the owners of the right and the land. Sixth, enhancing coordinating and consulting mechanism between our countries to collectively respond to any threat that harms our sovereignty and our security, and implement common deterring system. Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, Iraq emphasizes its condemnation to the series of military attacks that target the stability and security of our region, peoples and states, and it expresses its full support to the state of Qatar and the Palestinians and all the peoples who were attacked by Israel, be it Lebanon, Syria, Yemen, or Iran. And Iraq, according to its responsibility while presiding over the Arab Summit, invites this summit to be a turning point to enhance Islamic and Arab cooperation and take stances that can deter these aggressions. We are before a real opportunity to send a clear message that we are holding to stability and security, and to emphasize to the whole world that the security of our capitals and the sovereignty of our countries, it is not a file for negotiation, and it is an opportunity also to warn against attacking the international system and undermining it with the continuation of these crimes without any accountability. Thank you, and peace be upon you. Thank you. And now I give the floor to King Abdullah Al-Thani, the king of the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate. Peace and blessing be upon Prophet Muhammad, the Arab Hashemite Prophet, Prince Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al-Thani, Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, peace be upon you. My deep condolences to Your Highness, my brother Sheikh Tamim, and to the Qatari people for the victims of the Israeli aggression on your brotherly country. We condemn this aggression as it is a flagrant violation of the international law and a dangerous escalation in our region that would drive it towards more conflicts. And we stand by your side with all our potentials and capabilities, and we support any step you will undertake to face this aggression and to protect your security and your stability and your people. The security of Qatar is our security, and its stability is our stability, and we are fully supporting you. My dear brothers, the leaders, the Israeli aggression on Doha came after 2 years of the beginning of its violent war against the Palestinians, 2 years of destruction, genocide and starvation, during which Israel has violated international law and all human values. Israel did a lot in the West Bank. It took illegal and illegitimate steps that undermine the establishment of 2 states and undermines the opportunity of achieving peace and security in our region, and it is threatening the stability and security of Lebanon and Syria as well. And right now it is attacking the sovereignty of Qatar and its security. The Israeli government is going far with its hegemony because the international community let her be above the law. Thus, in the Arab and Islamic world, we need to review all tools of our joint action to confront the danger of this Israeli extremist government. And we need our summit today to take practical steps to confront this danger and stop war against Gaza and prevent the evacuation of the Palestinians from their lands and protect Jerusalem and its sacred sites and protect our joint security and common interests and future. Aggression on Qatar is an evidence that the Israeli threat has no limits. Our response should be clear, strict, and deterring. Peace be upon you. Thank you, Your Highness the Prince. And now I give the floor to His Excellency President Abdel Fattah El-Sisi, the President of the Arab Republic of Egypt. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate, my brother, Your Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al-Thani, the Prince of the Brotherly State of Qatar, Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, the Kings, Presidents and Princes of Arab and Islamic countries, Mr. Ahmed Abu al-Ghait, the Secretary General of the League of Arab States, Mr. Hussein Ibrahim Taha, the Secretary General of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. Peace and blessing of Allah be upon you. At the outset, I would like to express our deep appreciation to my brother Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani and the state of Qatar for hosting this important summit that is held at a very critical moment in light of important major challenges facing our region, as Israel is seeking to turn our region into a battlefield of attacks that jeopardizes security in the whole region. And it is a violation of international peace and security as well as the rules of the international system. I would like also to convey to the leaders of Qatar and its brotherly people Egypt's full solidarity and its support to its brothers in facing the Israeli aggression that was witnessed by Qatari land and sky, and it is a flagrant violation of UN Charter and international laws, and it is a dangerous precedent and a threat to the Arab and Islamic national security. Let me here emphasize clearly that this aggression reflects clearly that the Israeli practices exceeded any political or military logic, and it exceeded all red lines. And I here express our condemnation towards this Israeli aggression on the sovereignty and the security of an Arab state that is shouldering a pivotal role in the mediation efforts along with Egypt and US to reach a ceasefire in Gaza and to put an end to the war and the unprecedented sufferings from which the Palestinians are suffering. I warn that this Israeli behavior is destabilizing the whole region, and it can expand the conflict and drive the region into a cycle of escalation, and this can never be accepted. Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, while Egypt is inviting the international community to shoulder its ethical and legal responsibility to secure the non-recurrence of these aggressions and to put an end to the Israeli war, along with holding the officials responsible for these flagrant violations accountable and to put an end to impunity that is spread in front of the Israeli practices. It is clear that the violent acts committed by the Israeli side has an intention to fail all opportunities of reaching ceasefire and agreement to reach ceasefire and the release of hostages and prisoners. And this trend shows that there is no political will on part of Israel to seriously move towards achieving peace in the region. This impunity and this attacks on part of Israel necessitate the leaders of the Muslim and Arab world to work together regarding establishing standards and principles to reflect our common interests, and the adoption of the League of Arab States in its last ministerial council session, the decision, the joint vision for cooperation and security in the region can be a nucleus upon which we can build the Arab and Islamic agreement to have a governing system for international and regional security and cooperation, as well as developing the needed mechanisms to deal with this critical moment we are facing to prevent the regional hegemony of any party, as well as imposing unilateral decisions that would destabilize the region. Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, Israel has to understand that its security and peace won't be achieved with these aggressions and the security and military acts, but it would be achieved through respecting the sovereignty of the Arab and Muslim countries, and the sovereignty of these countries cannot be damaged by any justification and pretext. Thus, the whole world needs to realize that Israeli policies undermine the opportunity of peace in the region, and it breaks all international laws and norms as well as human values. And the continuation of this behavior won't bring nothing but more tension and lack of stability in the whole region, in a manner that would have grave repercussions on international security. And to the people of Israel, I would like to say what is happening right now undermines the future of peace and threatens your security and the security of all peoples in the region, and it puts obstacles behind any opportunity for a new peace agreement, and it harms also the existing peace agreements with countries in the region, and then the repercussions would be grave, and the whole region might get back to conflicts and struggles, and the historical efforts to build peace would be wasted, and the achievements attained by this peace would be undermined, and it is a price that we all would pay. So don't allow the efforts of our forefathers go in vain. Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, Egypt emphasizes the fact that it is against targeting the civilians, and it is against the starvation and the policy of collective punishment practiced against the Palestinians in Gaza Strip, which led to the death of tens of thousands of civilians and innocent people over the past 2 years. And here I would like to heighten that the military solutions and aborting the peaceful efforts in an attempt to impose the status quo with power and strength won't achieve the interest of any party. In this context, Egypt would continue its fixed stance in supporting the Palestinians and helping them to enjoy their just rights and their identity on their land according to the international law, and confronting the attempt to change these inalienable rights of the Palestinians, be it through the settling attempts or through evacuating the Palestinians from their lands, through using pretexts that cannot be accepted by any means. Egypt once more emphasizes the fact that it is against any proposals that would lead to the evacuation of Palestinians from their lands. These proposals don't have a legal or ethical basis and won't lead to anything except expanding the conflict, and this would destabilize the whole region. Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, it's prime time to seriously deal with the Palestinian cause, considering it as a key to stability in the region. The fair and comprehensive solution for this pivotal cause for the Arab and Islamic world is based on putting an end to occupation and establishing an independent Palestinian state according to the borders of 1967 with East Jerusalem as its capital. And in this context, I would like to emphasize that Egypt is looking forward to the two-state solution conference that will be held on the 22nd of September at the sidelines of a senior meeting for the General Assembly of the UN in New York, a step on the path of achieving permanent standing solution to the Palestinian cause through acknowledging the Palestinian state. And I would like to renew the invitation to the immediate recognition of the Palestinian state by all countries that did not take this step yet, as this is the only means to achieve the two-state solution. Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, we are at a critical moment that necessitates our unity to be the foundation for dealing with the challenges facing our region in a way that would secure not getting into more conflicts and chaos and prevent imposing regional rules that are conflicting with our common vision and our interests. Our message today is clear. We want to accept the aggression on our country's sovereignty and also aborting the peace efforts, and we will all stand by each other in protecting our right to peace and security and the right of the Palestinians to autonomy and to establishing their independent state. At the end, Our stances should change how the enemy sees us. We need to see that any Arab country is from the Gulf till the ocean, and it covers all Muslim and Arab countries as well as peace-loving countries. And to change this idea, this needs strong recommendations and their implementation with devotion and goodwill, so that every aggressor would stop from his aggression. And at this critical historical moment, we need to establish an Arab-Islamic mechanism for coordination and cooperation that would enable us to confront the major security and political and economic challenges around us. As establishing this mechanism now represents the means to enhancing our front and our ability to confront the current challenges and undertake the steps needed to protect our security and the protection of our common interests. Egypt extends its hand for all efforts to achieve just peace and to support international peace and security, as well as Arab and Islamic peace and security. Thank you, and peace be upon you. Thank you, Your Excellency the President. Now I would like to give the floor to President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, the President of the Republic of Turkey.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Sayın Devlet ve Hükümet Başkanları, kıymetli heyet üyeleri, değerli kardeşlerim, her birinizi en kalbi duygularımla
in the name of Allah, Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, the members of the delegates, my dear brothers, I would like to extend to you in the beginning respect and greetings, peace and blessing of Allah be upon you. At the outset, I would like to extend thanks and appreciation to my dear brother, Sheikh Tamim bin Hassan Al Thani, the Prince of the State of Qatar, for hosting this meeting. And I would like to start my speech also by praying for the Palestinian and the Qatari martyrs who died because of the Israeli aggression on the state of Qatar, and I wish a speedy recovery for the injured ones. We pray Allah to make all martyrs rest in peace and go to paradise. My dear brothers, since the 7th of October 2023, we held exceptional and emergency summits between Arab and Islamic countries because of the crimes committed by Israel in Gaza, and we emphasized in these summits that the Israeli escalating aggression is a direct threat to our region that should be stopped immediately, and we showed the whole world several times that this deviating idea fed by terrorism is jeopardizing international peace and security. Israel increased its attack. It targeted Yemen, Syria, Lebanon, and it targeted also ships in front of Tunisia, and it committed assassinations against politicians and elected politicians. And its aggression now reached Qatar, the mediating country that is looking for peace. This recent aggression showed that Israel have moved to a different, unprecedented level. And here comes the importance of holding this summit today in Doha. I would like to emphasize that the international public opinion need to see our meeting today as a real message that shows full support and solidarity with the state of Qatar. And I wish that our decisions today would interpret this soul and this spirit of fraternity through a declaration that would address the whole world. I would like to commend the wisdom and the courage of my brother Sheikh Tamim in managing this crisis, and I would like to renew the emphasis of our support in Turkey towards Qatar in all conditions and in all times. My dear brothers, It is clear now that Netanyahu's government is targeting to go on committing genocide and massacres against the Palestinians, and on the other hand, it is dragging the whole region towards chaos and instability. We are facing a terrorist mindset that lives on chaos and blood, and it is symbolized in this entity that is violating the UN Charter and the international law based on rules. And unfortunately, this entity is going on because it enjoys impunity and it is not held accountable for its crimes. And recently, we have seen a number of Israeli politicians and officials who are repeating the idea of the greater Israel, and this is shown in their attempt to expand the occupation in different Arab countries. But thank God our countries have the potentials and the abilities that would enable it to abort these plans. The crimes of the government of Netanyahu is now causing a problem even for its supporters, as the aggression on Qatar made even those who were unconditionally supporting Israel to express their objection. And we find that some countries announce their intention to recognize and acknowledge the state of Palestine, and this is a positive step, but it is unfortunate that it came late. Despite all that, these steps won't achieve the needed results unless being supported by strong sanctions against Israel. We need to intensify our diplomatic efforts to increase our penalties and to prosecute the Israeli officials through the mechanisms of international law. Dear brothers, we realize that Israel won't stop its occupying and destructive policies unless it is strongly deterred by strict penalizing and punishing measures. Thus, it is necessary to achieve self-sufficiency in vital fields, on top of which is defense, deterring industries, as well as development. And we are ready to share our experiences and our capabilities with you, my dear brothers. We need to increase our cooperation in these fields to secure a better future for the coming generations. I would like also to emphasize the importance of exerting economic pressure on Israel, as the previous experiences proved the efficiency of these economic measures against Israel. We, Turkey, over the past year and a half, we stopped all our commercial deals with Israel, and we have given up 9.5 billion US dollars annually, and I find that supporting also the lawsuit raised before the International Court of Justice is so important, so we need to support it. Thus, we need to develop practical mechanisms within the framework of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation to enhance the stability of our region. We will continue our struggle in this context until we establish the independent Palestinian state according to the borders of 1967, with East Jerusalem as its capital. It would be a full country enjoying sovereignty and the integrity of its territories. During this cause, we would never accept the evacuation of the Palestinian or the genocide or the division. I wish that our summit would contribute to establishing this state, and I wish that our steps would help us to deter the Israeli threats and to follow up the implementation of the recommendations of our meeting. And I would like to extend thanks to all those who contributed to holding this blessed summit. Thank you, Your Excellency, the President of Turkey. And now I give the floor to President Mahmoud Abbas, the President of the State of Palestine. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate, a verse from the Holy Quran: you believers, be patient and be pious to Allah and do your best. Maybe this would help you. Your Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, the Prince of the State of Qatar, Your Highnesses, Your Excellences, Ahmed Abul Ghait, the Secretary General of the League of Arab States, Hussein Taha, the Secretary General of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. Peace and blessing of Allah be upon you. We convene today here in Doha to stand one line beside the brotherly state of Qatar, the leadership and the people, announcing our full solidarity with Qatar in front of the Israeli coward aggression, emphasizing that violating the sovereignty of any Islamic or Arab country is a violation to our common security and to all other countries. We condemn this aggression and we call on the international community to shoulder its responsibility and to hold Israel accountable for its aggression and its crimes against our peoples and our security. And in this context, we invite you all to undertake practical deterring steps to prevent the occurrence of such attacks in the future. The leaders and heads of delegates, we once more confirm that the key to stability and security in our region lies in the end of the genocide and the end of the evacuation, as well as stealing lands and funds and putting an end to the Israeli occupation of the land of Palestine according to the borders of 1967, with East Jerusalem as its capital. In light of the Israeli continuous attack on Palestine and the recurrent attacks on Islamic and Arab countries, the last of which was Qatar, the extremist right-wing government in Israel cannot be a partner to stability and peace in our region. And this needs an Arab-Islamic firm stance, as well as an intervention from the United States of America and the Security Council to put an end to these practices from the state of occupation. The state of Palestine holds highly the stance of all Islamic and Arab countries that support our people for putting an end to the Israeli attack, as well as providing the humanitarian aid and helping us to get rid of the colonization and occupation. And we thank Egypt and Qatar for their efforts to achieve that. We thank also the brotherly and friendly countries participating in the International Peace Conference in New York that would be presided over by France and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, as its efforts led to achieving more international recognitions of the State of Palestine, as well as mobilizing international support to enable the State of Palestine to enjoy its independence and stability. Once more, we'd like to renew our thanks and appreciation to the brotherly state of Qatar under the leadership of Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani for his wise leadership to holding and hosting this urgent Arab and Islamic summit, and thanks to all the presidents and heads of delegates participating in this summit. Thank you and peace be upon you. Thank you. And now I give the floor to President Imam Ali, the President of the State of Tajikistan. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate. Your Highness, the Prince of the State of Qatar, the President of this summit, Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, the heads of states, governments, this attack on Qatar on the 9th of September is sorrowful. This is an attack on the sovereignty of our brotherly country, Qatar. And once more, we'd like to renew our condemnation to this attack that is a flagrant violation of the international law and the main principles of UN Charter. What type of violent act in the region is this? This leads to escalating the tension and increasing the conflicts in the region. And this hampers the negotiations as well as the dialogue that aims at achieving permanent stability and security in the region. And despite condemning these provocative acts from Israel, the military attacks on the sovereignty of the member states is still going on over the past 3 months. And it is unfortunate that over the past 2 years, the international community has seen the catastrophic humanitarian condition in Gaza Strip, and the Palestinians are still in need for further support. And distinguished guests, in light of the geopolitical complex conditions in the region and the world, enhancing and the unity of the Islamic community is more important than before. Here I would like to confirm that without our fruitful cooperation in the fields of economy and trade and investment and advanced technologies, achieving the objectives of the OIC would be impossible. Socio-economic development of the member states in OIC would secure the stability and security as well as the welfare of the Islamic countries. Islamic countries have a lot of industrial, financial resources as well as human capital and natural resources. In this context, we have big opportunities for supporting each other in implementing the programs and the projects. Distinguished guests, the Islamic world is facing terrorism, extremism, in addition to other threats against human civilization. So the unity of our stance and our common vision is a must. needed right now to face all these dangers. The thinkers and the scholars in the Islamic history has contributed to developing human civilization and human culture, and they taught people all over the world the peaceful coexistence. Building upon this common heritage, we need to enhance the mindsets in our communities and to highlight the unity of the Islamic nation. We wish that our summit today would help enhancing our unity and our solidarity to face the dangers of the modern age and to prevent any violation of international laws. Thank you for your due listening. Thank you, Your Excellency, the President. And now I give the floor to President Masoud Pezeshkian, the President of the Islamic Republic of Iran. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate.
شیخ تمیم بن حمد آل ثانی امیر محترم قطر تشکر میکنم از برگزاری این جلسه.
First of all, I would like to extend thanks to Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, the Prince of the State of Qatar, for hosting this Arab-Islamic summit. Your Excellencies, Your Highnesses, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me honor to participate in this meeting to discuss the aggression against the state of Qatar on the 9th of September, committed by Israel to undermine efforts to stop the genocide in Gaza, and it is a threat to the whole region and the whole Islamic world. It is a flagrant attack and threat, and it cannot be accepted as it is a violation of the international law. In June 2025, Israel made an attack against my country, Iran, and we need to emphasize that the attack that took place last week against Qatar was an act of terrorism, and it threatens, and we need to discuss how can we confront these attacks, because these attacks are the result of the provocative acts committed by the Zionist entity, because they enjoy impunity from all their crimes. And this entity that appeared in our region through the support of the US is undermining the international law and international norms. And over the past 2 years, Gaza Strip suffered from a deep catastrophe, and Gaza today is under fire, and the Palestinians are suffering. More than 46,000 Palestinians were killed in Gaza Strip because of the Israeli attacks and the starvation. And the Zionist entity is committing crimes of genocide and is starving the people, and they are expanding with their attacks to reach other Arab and Islamic countries, and now Qatar. Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, we need to identify the coming threat, and in September 2025 we find that the Zionist entity is attacking a lot of Arab and Islamic countries under the pretext of self-defense. And the Western countries denounce these acts, but these are hollow denouncements, as they do not prevent Israel from continuing its attacks, because it enjoys diplomatic support from the Western countries. And the countries in the Security Council use the right to veto, and this shows double standards on part of the international community. Thus, due to that, Israel is continuing its crimes.
نحن مدينون للعالم بأمرين يجب أن نكون صريحين وأن نتخذ التدابير اللازمة
need to take the needed steps. We need
وليس أخطاء على أساس حالة
to mention that we should not deal with every individual case, but we need to deal with all the attacks and need to understand that Israel is committing genocide and apartheid and ethnical cleansing. So we need to أن نقوم بعزل المهاجمين ونمنعهم
denounce
the attacks and prosecute the attackers and prevent them from receiving the arms and weapons and hold the Israelis accountable for their crimes. And we need to show unity and solidarity in front of this Zionist entity, as this entity is attacking our countries. And there is no Arab or Islamic country that is protected from such attacks from Israel. I would like to confirm that we have one sole option. It's our unity. And we need to follow the teachings of Prophet Muhammad, who said المسلم أخو المسلم ومثل المسلمين في تودهم وترحمهم وتعاطفهم كمثل الجسد الواحد. The attack on Arab and Muslim countries was a provocative act, as they believe that we are one body, and we need to prove that the Muslims are all like one body, and the Israeli entity also should understand that they cannot attack any Muslim or Arab country, and especially the mediators. Mediators cannot be attacked according to the international laws. So all Muslim and Arab countries need to be united in confronting this Zionist entity, as it acted against the dignity of our country. So we need to stand before these threats and to say that we will stand united and we won't be silent towards what's taking place in Gaza, but we rather would hold Israel accountable for what they did in Beirut, in Sana'a, and in Iran and all the other countries, according to our Islamic unity and on the basis of our solidarity and on the basis of humanity. And as Prophet Muhammad said, that he, the Muslim who does not care about the affairs of other Muslims, is not a Muslim. So we should look after each other. Thank you for your due listening. Thank you, Your Excellency, the President. And now I give the floor to President Ismail Omar, the President of the Republic of Djibouti. Your Highness, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, peace be upon you. With heavy hearts and a conscience does not know silence towards crimes, we stand today not to express a word that supports Qatar, the Israeli aggression that targeted Doha, this kind land, the heart of Arab countries, is not just targeting a city, but it is an attack on every Arab and Muslim, and it is a flagrant challenge towards our common humanity and international law. Bombarding Doha, that has always been the minaret of peace and supporter to people suffering from injustice, is not just one act, but it is a page in a chapter of Israeli aggressions, and it is part of the Israeli occupation that does not respect any sovereignty or law. Your Excellency, the leaders, we say today, honestly, from the heart of Doha, that he who shells a safe Arab capital is threatening the whole nation, and he who keeps silent is paving the way for the coming attack. And towards this dangerous event, the Republic of Djibouti expresses the following. We condemn strongly this aggression, and we consider it a crime, and we call for an international investigation that would document the crime and make the Israeli occupation shoulder the full responsibility. And we call for an Arab and Islamic immediate action that exceeds the limits of condemnation towards deterring steps and influential decisions. It's prime time for this nation to move as one body. Our dignity cannot be divided, and our sovereignty is not subject to discussion or negotiation. We need to translate our solidarity into concrete acts that would protect our countries and our sovereignty, and send a clear message that our capitals are not a battlefield for the Israeli aggressions and violations. Dear brothers, we extend our hands to just peace, but we do not accept this civilized act to be understood as an act of weakness, or that our patience would be understood as defeat. If this was misunderstood, let this summit be a turning point that would get again back our sovereignty and dignity. Here, once more, we would like to express that Djibouti, the leadership and the people, support the brotherly state of Qatar, and we wish that out of this summit and out of this wound, we would have new Islamic and Arab awareness that does not know hesitation or does not keep silent when sovereignty is attacked. Thank you, and peace be upon you. Thank you, Your Excellency, the President of Djibouti. And now I give the floor to His Excellency President Joseph Aoun, the President of the Republic of Lebanon. Thank you. My dear brother, Your Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, the President of the State of Qatar, my brothers, Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, the presidents and the heads of the delegates, let me address you with direct, brief words, as the crisis cannot accept nothing but that. We did not come here to show solidarity to a brotherly state. We are here in the name of Lebanon, every Lebanese, to show solidarity to ourselves. First, because we learned from pain and blood that the attack on any brother is an attack on us in particular. Secondly, because the brother who is under attack today is Qatar, and it is not just a brotherly state or another Arab country, but it is in the heart through its role and its message and its stances. Thirdly, because as fighting international terrorism and organized crime in any terrorist attack, the direct victim is not the real target, but it is just a tool. But the real goal is he who witnesses the attack or survives it. Because the intentional purpose of any terrorist attack is not killing the victim, but terrorizing those who are alive and to prevent his will and drive him to do an act he did not want to do. That's why we say today that the real target of this recent aggression on beloved Doha was not just a group of individuals, but the concept of mediation and the principle of dialogue. The purpose of the attack was not assassinating negotiators, but dissolving the idea of negotiation itself. That's why they selected the brotherly state of Qatar for their attack, because it is not just a country, but it is an engine of dialogue, peace, and negotiations. And these are the principles that the aggression wanted to attack. We all know that part of this behavior is witnessed every day by Lebanon and by killing the civilians in Syria, targeting the innocents in Lebanon, as well as killing and starving Palestinians in Gaza Strip. But the attack on Qatar was more flagrant. Accordingly, I apologize to you, Sheikh Tamim, and I apologize to you, all presidents and heads of delegates, for not repeating the condemnation, as this is a lot in our history, and people now get bored by hearing about the condemnations. I'm here to say that based on all what happened before, the image after the aggression on Doha has become clear, and the needed challenge is a response to it, and the response should be clear enough. After a few days, we will attend the General Assembly of the United Nations in New York, as the whole world that looks for peace would meet. Let's go there with a unified position. Does the government of Israel want just standing peace in our region? If the answer is yes, we are ready. According to the Arab Peace Initiative that was presented by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in Beirut Summit in 2002 and was adopted by the League of Arab States and is supported at the international level, that is translated now through the recognition of the state of Palestine on part of a number of countries, like the declaration that was made today by the General Assembly of the UN through the majority under the Declaration of New York, as a result of the efforts from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and France that put concrete steps with a time schedule towards the two-state solution. Let's sit together under the auspices of the United Nations and all those who seek peace to look for the needed requirements to achieve this solution. If the answer is no to this question, we accept it, and then we realize the reality and build upon it. Maybe we can at least stop the series of disappointments in front of history and our peoples. I say this along with praying for our peoples, our region, and our countries, wishing them peace and security. Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency, the President. And now I give the floor to President Dr. Mohammed Muaz, the President of Maldives. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most gracious. Your Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hassan Al Thani, the Prince of the State of Qatar, Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, peace be upon you. I would like to express the thanks and appreciation for holding this summit at a critical moment. We meet here today in Doha not to discuss something particular, but to condemn jointly this attack and this flagrant violation of the international law. The Israeli attack on Doha is not just a violation of the law, but it is a violation of the sovereignty of Qatar. And it is an attack also on the identity of the Islamic and Arab countries, and it is a provocation to all countries in the region. It is not an incident, but it was done intentionally. It was an attack on peace itself. And Qatar, that is shouldering a pivotal role in mediation and is exerting peace efforts. And it is an attack on Qatar that is trying to reduce the sufferings of the Palestinians. This attack is punishing peace itself and is undermining the mediation efforts and is destabilizing the whole region. This aggressive act is a violation and the illegal occupation of the Palestinian lands and preventing the Palestinians from living, and the attacks on the Palestinian journalists, and now this attack on Qatar. The Israeli occupation undermined everything and every principle, and it attacked every building in Gaza. And we need to raise a question: when would all that come to an end? What are the limits that Israel would not exceed? What Israel is committing is against peacemaking. It is a military act and it is a violation of humanity. And this spread of fear on part of Israel undermines hope and peace in the whole region. And this destruction committed by Israel is an attack on human dignity, and we have seen this in Palestine, Yemen, Lebanon, Syria, and now Doha. Israel is acting like that because it is not held accountable for its crimes, and it's undermining the international system as a whole. We need to be clear. This attack on Qatar is an attack on all of us, the sovereignty and the security of Qatar is not far from any country, and Maldives stand by the government and the people of Qatar. Your struggle is our struggle, your dignity is our dignity, and your cause is our cause. And on behalf of the people of the Republic of Maldives, I express my full support to the government and the people of Qatar. Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, we cannot forget UN Charter and Geneva Conventions and all the Security Council resolutions, as well as the decisions of the International Court of Justice. Israel is being protected, unfortunately, by double standards because it is not held accountable. So our responsibility is not just making statements. We cannot stand and show support only. We need to take a coordinated action, and it should be an action at the diplomatic, legal, and the humanitarian level. And I call upon the international community to hold Israel accountable for its act and crimes. These war crimes and crimes against humanity, there should be legal and diplomatic and political measures at the international level. No country should suffer from this Israeli attack. The Islamic nation needs to stand before this act and impunity. Gaza should enjoy its independence and freedom, and we need to support the mediation efforts on part of Qatar. And this summit should remind the whole world that the Islamic world has one voice. This should be a clear message through which we oppose impunity and this occupation. If we fail to do that, history would hold us accountable. We need to have strength to face this. We pray Allah to support our efforts for the spread of peace and dignity. Thank you, and peace be upon you. Thank you, Your Excellency, the President of Maldives. And now I give the floor to His Excellency President Mohammed Ould Sheikh Al-Ghazawi, the President of the Islamic Republic of Mauritania. In the name of Allah, peace and blessing be upon Prophet Muhammad, his family and his companions. Your Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, the Secretary General of the League of Arab States, the Secretary General of the Organization of International Cooperation, Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, peace be upon you. We convene today at a critical moment in the history of our nation, in which different variables intersect, jeopardizing the stability and the security of our region in light of a complicated international status that needs us to be fully aware and to achieve coordination to deal with the differences and the future. The Israeli attack on Doha, the Qatari capital, is not just one act in these contexts, but it is a link in a series of aggressive policies on part of Israel that was adopted by the Israeli occupation and through which it violated the sovereignty of different countries and undermined all efforts to achieve just peace. The Islamic Republic of Mauritania is condemning this flagrant aggression of the sovereignty of Qatar, and it emphasizes our full solidarity with Qatar, and we consider that the security of Qatar is the Islamic and Arab security, and harming the sovereignty of Qatar is a dangerous, provocative act that cannot be forgotten. Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, the attack on the state of Qatar represents a dangerous escalation, and it symbolizes the absence of the will to peace on part of Israel, and it shows that they are going on with their genocide and their attacks, and it is a path that would lead only to direct threat to regional peace and security, as well as undermining the basis of stability, and it harms the international references. We totally realize what's happening and the unconventional dynamics taking place in our region. And these are givens that put our countries in front of a strategic burden that need enhancing our joint cooperation as well as the values of solidarity to achieve our regional stability and collective stability. We need to have a unified position capable of making a difference. Thus, the message that we need to deliver is that the policy of attacks and escalation would be faced by a serious stance based on international mechanisms to protect the sovereignty of the countries and the dignity of the peoples, and to support the international law as the main pillar for international peace and security. In this context, the role of the international community and its organizations, on top of which is the Security Council, is a necessity rather than an option, as it has a direct responsibility to secure respecting the rules of the international system. And any comprehensive approach cannot avoid the Palestinian cause, as it is the essence of the struggle and the key to balance in the region and the basis for any peace and security. At the end, the Republic of Mauritania calls for unity to protect the dignity and the security of our countries and to prevent undermining its stability. Thank you, and peace be upon you. Thank you, Your Excellency, the President of Mauritania. Sorry, I mentioned El-Ghazawi while your name is El-Ghazwani, so my apologies. And now I give the floor to His Excellency Dr. Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud, the President of the Republic of Somalia. Excuse me, in the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate, peace and blessing of Allah be upon you. Your Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, the Prince of the State of Qatar, Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, the Federal Republic of Somalia expresses its shock towards this terrorist attack committed by Israel on the 9th of September against the state of Qatar. This attack is a flagrant violation of the international law, and it is also a violation of the sovereignty of Qatar and the integrity of its territories. In addition to that, it is a dangerous threat to international peace and security. Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, Somalia and its people express their condolences to the leadership and the government and the people of Qatar for the tragic loss of the innocent lives of our brothers who died in this attack, and we'd like to emphasize the solidarity of Somalia with our brothers and sisters in Qatar at this critical moment. Any attack and any violation of the sovereignty of a country and killing of innocents is a violation of UN Charter that prevents the violation of the sovereignty of any country, and Somalia is supporting Qatar and its right to defending its sovereignty and its security, and we call upon the international community, especially the Security Council, to shoulder its responsibility and protect international peace and security. Silence in front of these violations would be a dangerous precedent that would undermine the international law. Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, this rash attempt would need dialogue as well as peaceful settlements. The role played by Qatar is a pivotal role in enhancing the efforts of peace and stability, especially due to the crisis in Gaza. We need to support the role played by Qatar and not undermine this role through these acts. The conditions in Gaza is shameful. We need all to remember that Israel throughout history has been thinking of wiping off a state, but the state of Palestine and the Palestinians would prevail and survive. And my country supposedly supports an immediate ceasefire, as well as the release of all hostages and prisoners, as well as providing humanitarian aids without any conditions to reduce the difficulty in Gaza. We'd like to say that peace in the Middle East needs dealing with the cause roots of this instability. At the end, Somalia would stand by Qatar to support peace and security, especially in Gaza, because this is the only means to reduce the sufferings of the innocents. Somalia would always stand by all those who seek to achieve stability, peace and security in the whole world. Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency. And now I give the floor to His Excellency President Othman Ghazali, the President of the Republic of Comoros. Thank you very much. Your Highness Prince Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, the Prince of the Brotherly State of Qatar, Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, the Secretary General of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, the Secretary General of the League of Arab States, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, peace and blessing of Allah be upon you. At the outset, let me express my thanks and appreciation to His Highness Prince Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, the Prince of the State of Qatar, for the hospitality and for organizing this summit. We'd like to express our thanks and appreciation to the government and the people of Qatar, as this expresses the brotherly relations between our countries. I hail the continuous efforts exerted by the League of Arab States and the Organization of Islamic Cooperation in supporting the different causes of our nation. Brothers and sisters, we convene today for an important event, as the Israeli attack on Doha in 9th of September led to the death of innocents, and we in Comoros condemn strongly this attack that is a flagrant violation of the sovereignty of the state of Qatar, and it is a violation of UN Charter and international law. This attack is not against Qatar only, but it is targeting the Arab and Islamic national security, and harming the security of Qatar is a harm to all our national security. Ladies and gentlemen, the sovereignty of our countries is a red line. And what happened in Doha is a clear attempt to prevent the noble role played by Qatar from going on in its attempt to mediate for the Palestinians. And here we'd like to express our full support to the state of Qatar, and we consider the protection of mediators as a precondition for the success of any peace process. We'd like also to emphasize our fixed position in supporting the brotherly people of Palestine and their just right to have an independent state with East Jerusalem as its capital, according to the international legitimacy decisions. And we are totally against the evacuation of the Palestinians and the crimes from which the Palestinians are suffering. and we call upon the international community to stop this genocide immediately. And we hold high the efforts exerted by the state of Qatar and the Arab Republic of Egypt to reach a ceasefire, and we support the results of the international conference for the two-state solution that would be held under the presidency of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and France. And we believe that the UN General Assembly declaration supporting the recognition of a Palestinian state is an important step. And in the name of Comoros, we announce our full support to Qatar and holding on to the sovereignty of our countries. And we are keen on working for just standing peace in Palestine, as this is the only means to achieving a bright future for our region. Thank you, and peace be upon you. Thank you, and now I give the floor to His Excellency President Ahmed al-Shara, the President of the Arab Republic of Syria. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most gracious, thanks be to Allah, and peace and blessing be upon Prophet Muhammad, his family and his companions. Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, my brother, the Prince of the State of Qatar, Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, peace be upon you. I will be brief. It is strange that the negotiator is being killed now, and it is unprecedented that the mediator would be targeted. In the same context, the Israeli aggression on Gaza is still going on, and it is attacking Syria over the past 9 months. Distinguished guests, there is no nation that is united and is not strong enough, and when the nation is divided, it becomes weaker. The poet says, when you have smart heart together with a strong mind, then you can become stronger. Syria supports the state of Qatar due to its just position, and thank you and blessing of Allah be upon you. Thank you, Your Excellency, and now I give the floor to Prince Sabah bin Khalid al-Sabah, the Crown Prince of the State of Kuwait. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate, my brother Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, the Prince of the State of Qatar and the President of the Extraordinary Arab-Islamic Summit, my brothers, Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, the leaders of the Arab and Islamic countries, peace be upon you. At the outset, I would like to convey to you all the greetings of the Prince of the State of Kuwait, Sheikh Mish'al Jabir al-Sabah. May God protect him, and his wishes to the summit and his wishes for its success. I would like to extend thanks and appreciation to Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, the Prince of the State of Qatar, for the hospitality and for this kind invitation for this summit that is held in the Qatari capital at Doha in light of exceptional conditions. I would like to express to you, Your Highnesses and Your Excellencies, the leaders of Islamic and Arab countries, thanks for the quick response. And I would like to thank the Secretary General of the League of Arab States and the Secretary General of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation for the excellent preparation for this summit. My brothers, Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, our summit today comes to renew our condemnation to the Israeli attack on the capital Doha on the 9th of September, and to emphasize that the security of Qatar is a pillar for the security of the Islamic and Arab worlds, and it is an integral part of their security. In this context, I express my condolences to the state of Qatar, the leadership, the people, for the martyrs of this Israeli attack, including Badr Saad al-Dosari. May he rest in peace. Your Highnesses, Your Excellences, the Israeli occupation forces are continuing their attacks on Muslim and Arab countries, and it is a continuation of their escalating acts, and it is a flagrant threat to regional peace and security, and it is direct undermining of the international efforts to achieve peace in the region. And it shows that Israel is taking lightly the international system and the principles and rules of the international law and the different charters, and it is leading the whole region to chaos. And we condemn strongly this attack, and we renew our invitation to the international community and the Security Council to shoulder its responsibility and not to keep silent towards this attack, and to undertake serious, effective steps to stop this systematic attack on the countries of the region and to hold accountable the aggressors. Your Highnesses, Your Excellences, since the beginning of the attack of the Israeli forces on Gaza Strip 2 years ago, the strenuous, devoted efforts exerted by the state of Qatar to end the bloodshedding in Gaza Strip and to support the Palestinians and to get them rid of genocide, starvation, through reaching a ceasefire between all parties. And the Israeli attack on Doha signifies the intention of the occupation to prevent achieving standing peace in the region. And in this context, we would like to praise the noble efforts exerted by the state of Qatar in supporting the Palestinian rights based on international legitimacy resolutions and the Arab Peace Initiative up till establishing a Palestinian independent state with sovereignty according to the borders of 1967 and East Jerusalem its capital. To achieve peace and security in the region, at the end, we would like to re-emphasize our full support to the measures taken by Qatar to preserve stability, security, and sovereignty, and the protection of its people and its residents. We call upon uniting international and regional efforts to stop the escalation in the region and to prevent any practices that would increase hatred, extremism, and lead to destabilization of the region. Thank you, and peace be upon you. Thank you, Your Highness the Prince. And now I give the floor to Dr. Rashad Mohammed Al-Alimi, the President of the Presidential Council in Libya. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate. Your Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, the Prince of the State of Qatar. Your Highnesses, Your Excellences, our Arab and Islamic nation stands before an important historical moment. After the Israeli attack on Qatar that exceeded all red lines and violated all international laws and norms. This attack emphasizes to everyone that the Arab and Islamic security is whole, and the success of the peace process is preconditioned by the balance of power, and that the Israeli expansion policy and the lie of regional hegemony cannot be prevented except through collective measures. Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, the continuation of the genocide in Gaza without any punishment and the continuous aggression on the states in the region led to the fact that the Israeli occupation was brave enough to attack Qatar. And in my countries, the occupation is destroying everything in Yemen, and it is targeting the civilian infrastructure in response to the cross-border attacks launched by the Houthis militias that led to militarizing the Red Sea and turning the Yemeni land into a battlefield with proxy. We are facing today geopolitical challenges that prove that the countries in the region and the armed terrorist groups are the faces of the same coin. They provide pretext for the expansion of the other, and both of them seek to undermine the national state and ignite the regional conflict. Accordingly, we need today to adopt an approach for joint Islamic and Arab action based on 3 pillars. 1. The just comprehensive solution for the Palestinian cause based on international legitimacy decision and the Arab Peace Initiative. Secondly, supporting the national institutions politically, economically, and security, and the collective action to confront the armed terrorist groups. Thirdly, deterring the rogue countries that want to expand in the region, on top of which is Israel, and enhance Arab-Islamic common integration. Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, despite the threats facing the Palestinian cause, the Arab diplomacy under the leadership of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia succeeded in achieving an important political transformation towards international acknowledgement of Palestine, and the Republic of Yemen welcomes the historical decision of the General Assembly of the UN supporting the two-state solution and the efforts exerted by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the Republic of France. And we wish that this decision would be interpreted into scheduled measures in the future. Once more, we express our solidarity with our brothers, the state of Qatar and its people, and we wish the best for this extraordinary summit for the unity of our nation and enabling our nations to confront the different challenges. Thank you, and peace be upon you. Thank you, and now I give the floor to Mr. Mohammed bin Youssef Menfi, the head of the Libyan Presidential Council. Your Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, the Prince of the State of Qatar, Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, peace be upon you. At the beginning of my speech, I would like to express thanks to the State of Qatar and His Highness Prince Tamim bin Hamad for his kind invitation. We convene today at a critical historical moment after the Israeli aggression that targeted the sovereignty of the State of Qatar last Tuesday, and it is not separated from the genocide in Gaza and the escalation against Lebanon, Syria, and Iran, which shows that the Israelis are taking the international law lightly. Ladies and gentlemen, this attack on the State of Qatar is an attack on the whole Islamic and Arab nation. And we in Libya, the leadership and the people, are against this crime by all means, and we emphasize our full solidarity with the State of Qatar, considering that any attack on an Arab or Islamic state is an attack against us all. This attack is in fact an extension of the racist occupation policies that started in November 2024, and it was denounced by the International Court of Justice, and it is supported by the whole world. Our human and religious responsibility necessitates a unified stance in the Security Council and the UN General Assembly to prevent the Israeli occupation from committing its crimes against the Palestinians, and to prevent the killing of journalists, physicians, as well as targeting hospitals, schools, and killing the innocents. And we need to enhance the decisions of Riyadh and Doha summits through practical steps. First, taking a unified stance in the Security Council against Israel for attacking Qatar and Gaza Strip, and moving in the General Assembly to support the full membership of Palestine. and making New York Declaration that's considered an important step towards international recognition of the independent Palestinian state. And we call for uncovering the plans and the conspiracies of Israel. Ladies and gentlemen, no peace without an end to occupation and establishing an independent Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as its capital and full membership for Palestine in the General Assembly, in addition to protecting the sacred Muslim and Christian sites. And we are against the genocide and starvation in Gaza. And we thank the countries that imposed sanctions on the occupation. Ladies and gentlemen, we are before an exam for our solidarity. We want to leave our people in Gaza and the state of Qatar to stand on their own, and we have all one cause and one destiny, and our responsibility is towards the collective security of our countries, and we call for international protection for the Palestinians and enhancing diplomatic and legal efforts to hold the attackers accountable and to continue the historical step that was taken by South Africa and the other steps that we in Libya supported in front of the International Court of Justice and the International Criminal Court and regional and international arenas. Your Highness Sheikh Tamim, we renew our thanks to Your Highness and the State of Qatar for hosting this extraordinary summit and for your efforts to enhance Islamic and Arab cooperation. And we invite you to continue your role as the mediator to put an end to aggression on Gaza based on our support. And we pray Allah that this summit would be a turning point to achieve justice and to protect our country's peace and blessing of Allah be upon you. Thank you, Your Excellency, the President. And now I give the floor to Mr. Abdel Fattah al-Burham, the head of the Transitional Presidency Council in Sudan. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most gracious. Thanks be to Allah, peace and blessing be upon Prophet Muhammad, Your Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, the Prince of the State of Qatar, Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, peace and blessing of Allah be upon you. Our summit today is held after the Israeli clear attack targeting Doha, the Qatari capital, in a flagrant violation of the sovereignty of an Arab-Islamic brotherly country and a violation of UN Charter and international law. This aggression does not target Qatar only, but it sends a worrying message to the whole world, in addition to the fact that it undermines the efforts to reach a settlement that would end to the humanitarian crisis in Gaza, and it weakens the opportunity of the success of any attempt to cease fire, and it is a continuation of indifference to international law, and it inculcates a reality based on imposing the approach of the power and strength. The Republic of Sudan condemns this act and expresses its full support to the state of Qatar, the leadership, the government and the people, and it announces its support to Qatar in this conspiracy. Sudan renews its confirmation that the only means to achieving just and standing peace in the Middle East is establishing a Palestinian state, and any attempt to forget this reality means the continuation of the vicious circle of conflict and destabilizes the region. And we emphasize our support to the outcomes of this summit and call for a real international Arab and Islamic act that would get things back to normal and put an end to double standards resulting from the wrong policies and the system of the Security Council and international justice systems. At the end, we believe that our unity and our coherence is the only and optimum means to impact the events and to get to a better, safe future full of justice and peace for all our peoples. Peace and blessing of Allah be upon you. Thank you, Your Excellency the President. And now I give the floor to Dr. Anwar Ibrahim, the Prime Minister of Malaysia.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Peace be upon you.
I might take this opportunity to extend.
I would like to seize this opportunity to express my appreciation to His Highness Prince Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. Malaysia denounces strongly the attack on Doha, shelling the capital of an Arab and Islamic country is a barbaric act as it violates the sovereignty of Qatar and the international law, and it is unjustified provocation. And the danger of that increases due to the mediating role played by Qatar, which is an essential role in solving the problem of Gaza. This country enjoys wisdom to enhance the dialogue between Hamas, the Palestinians, and Israel with the support of Egypt and the United States. This is an intentional attack. This is an Israeli Zionist aggression that did not leave any country. And Gaza is still being crushed before our eyes. And it's suffering from devastation. The Palestinians are suffering from unprecedented devastation. No families, hospitals, or children were saved from this attack. A lot of innocents were buried under the debris due to these attacks, and they attacked also Lebanon, Syria, Yemen, and Iran. And this impunity shows being indifference to international system as well as civilization. Israel announced that there would be no Palestinian state, and we need to understand that Israel, by saying that, is announcing that it is not abiding by any resolution made by the Security Council or the UN about Palestine. Our peoples are tired of speaking about this cause, and we are still making denouncements, declarations, while Israel is escalating and it is not held accountable. We need to be courageous enough to take the measures needed, otherwise we won't be able to ask the international community to do its role. While we convene today, there is a convoy in the sea sailing towards Gaza to break the siege on Gaza. This is a message of mercy, and we need to do our best so that this convoy would reach the shores of Gaza. And if the Israelis show violence against this, we need to stand strong against it. We need to save the weak ones and those who are suffering from starvation. condemnation won't liberate Palestine and won't stop the aggression. We need to impose strong sanctions against Israel, and we need to exert diplomatic efforts and to boycott Israel. I pray Allah to give us the courage and the strength to do that. Thank you, and peace be upon you. Thank you, and now I give the floor to Mr. Shahban Sharif, the Prime Minister of Pakistan. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate, Your Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al-Thani, the Prince of the State of Qatar, Your Majesty, Your Highnesses, Your Excellences, brothers and sisters, peace be upon you. We are convening today in a sorrowful occasion, which is the attack on the brotherly state of Qatar. It was targeted by an aggressor who violates the international law fearlessly. Pakistan condemns this Israeli attack on Doha on the 9th of September. And it's clear that it was targeting to undermine the peace efforts in the Middle East. And this is a flagrant violation of the sovereignty of Qatar. And we express our solidarity with our brothers, the Qataris. Your Highnesses, Your Excellences, the Israeli attack on Qatar is not apart from the other attacks. It is a hegemonic ambition on part of Israel to control the whole region, and the role of the mediators is always considered to be sacred, and they are the hope of peace and keeping dialogue on to achieve the peace. The negotiations focus on this, and keeping this mediation should be a priority, but this country has done this attack without giving priority to negotiations or the release of the hostages. Qatar exerted diplomatic efforts under the leadership of His Majesty Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al-Thani, and Qatar is trying to enhance regional peace and security as well as international peace and security, while Gaza is suffering. Its women and children are in a disaster, and it is echoed everywhere in the world. We can hear the voice of the child who's barefooted and walked for 12 kilometers to die after Israel targeting him while he was getting the humanitarian aid. This Israeli crime led to the destruction of Gaza, and we find now that Gaza and the Gazans are all suffering and bleeding. The whole world is watching this massacre, and this must stop. It must stop now. Pakistan re-emphasizes the importance of taking urgent steps to put an end to these war crimes and to establish a task force to take the effective steps to stop the Israeli expansion plans. We call for suspending the Israeli membership in the United Nations, and we need to take other effective steps against Israel, and the International Security Council need to urgently call on Israel under Chapter 7 of the UN Charter to immediately stop the aggression and to release the Palestinian prisoners. We need also to secure access to all humanitarian aid to Palestinians, as well as protecting the humanitarian aid workers. And we need to achieve long-lasting solution and peace in the region through establishing a Palestinian independent state according to the borders of 1967 with East Jerusalem as its capital. Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, today in this international conference we confirm our common ideas and our acts, and we all condemn the Israeli attack. Let history inscribe this important moment as we, the leaders of the Arab and Islamic worlds, chose dignity, courage over silence and doing nothing. We modestly would like to say at the end that history won't forgive us, dear brothers. I would like to wrap up by a verse from the Holy Quran. You should all be united, do not be divided. Thank you all, and peace and blessing of Allah be upon you. Thank you. And now I would like to give the floor to Mr. Yerlan Koshanov, the President of Kazakhstani Parliament. Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, peace and blessing of Allah be upon you. At the outset, I would like to express greetings of the President of the Republic of Kazakhstan to His Majesty Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani and all the participants in this summit. We'd like to express our appreciation to the Republic of the State of Qatar for hosting this extraordinary summit and for the hospitality we have seen at a time when the principles of the international law and our unity is jeopardized. Unfortunately, holding this extraordinary summit today is a result of the deterioration of the international conditions as the Middle East region now is facing geopolitical major difficulties. The Republic of Kazakhstan is condemning the operations committed by Israel, and President Qasim Jomar announced this stance, emphasizing support of Kazakhstan to the state of Qatar, and whatever the goals of these attacks are, these acts should not be accepted at all, as it violates the rights of Qatar and its sovereignty. Qatar is a brotherly country and one of our main partners in the Middle East and the Arab world. And today, Doha, thanks to its fixed policies in mediation, is contributing to enhancing international peace and security, as well as regional peace and
ونقدر المبادرات البناءة والجهود الدؤوبة التي تبذلها دولة قطر أيما تقدير وتحظى باعتراف واسع من المجتمع الدولي. أما موقف كازاخستان إذا تسوية النزاعات والخلافات الدولية وهو واضح وضوح الشمس. يجب أن تحل جميع الأزمات عبر الحوار السلمي استنادا إلى ميثاق الأمم المتحدة ومبادئ القانون الدولي، وندعو إلى التطبيق الشامل لهذه المبادئ عند معالجة النزاعات وضمان عدم المساس بها. إن اللجوء إلى القوة العسكرية لن يؤدي إلا لموجات جديدة من العنف، وفي هذا السياق لا يمكننا أن نتجاهل الأحداث المأساوية الجارية في قطاع غزة حيث يعاني المدنيون من ويلات الصراع. ومنذ البداية دعت كازاخستان بشكل متواصل إلى الوقف الفوري لإطلاق النار في غزة وإلى تقديم المساعدات الإنسانية العاجلة لسكانها. وفي هذا الإطار قدمت كازاخستان مساعدات مالية ومادية لقطاع غزة، بما في ذلك عبر منظمة الأمن الغذائي الإسلامية التي تتخذ من أستانا مقرا لها، حيث استمر هذا الجهد في يناير من هذا العام. وبناء على ذلك ندعو الجميع للاستفادة من إمكانيات هذه المنظمة من أجل زيادة حجم المساعدات الإنسانية للشعب الفلسطيني. وتجدد كازاخستان تأكيد دعمها الثابت للقضية الفلسطينية على أساس صيغة دولتين لشعبين التي قررها مجلس الأمن التابع للأمم المتحدة. في هذا السياق أود أن أؤكد دعمها لسياسة الوساطة التي ينتهجها صاحب السمو الشيخ تميم الهادفة إلى تحقيق الاستقرار. السادة والسيدات المشاركون في هذه القمة، أن كازاخستان تولي أهمية كبيرة لوحدة العالم الإسلامي وتضامنه، ونحن ندعو إلى البقاء دائما صفا واحدا في سبيل تحقيق العدالة والسلام والتنمية المستدامة، مستندين إلى قيم الدينية والثقافية والتاريخية المشتركة وإلى روابط الأخوة والصداقة. شكرا لحسن استماعكم والسلام عليكم.
شكرا سيد رئيس البرلمان. الآن أعطي الكلمة إلى صاحب السمو السيد شهاب بن طارق بن تيمور آل سعيد، نائب رئيس الوزراء لشؤون الدفاع لسلطنة عمان الشقيقة. فليتفضل.
شكرا. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. صاحب السمو الشيخ تميم بن حمد آل ثاني أمير دولة قطر رئيس القمة، أصحاب الجلالة والفخامة والسمو، أعضاء الوفود الكرام، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. أتشرف بداية أن أنقل تحيات حضرة صاحب الجلالة السلطان هيثم بن طارق وتقدير العميق
and to express his appreciation to the Qatari efforts to host this extraordinary summit in a very serious moment in the world history. Your Excellencies, Your Majesty's Excellencies, Highnesses, esteemed presence, the attack on the sisterly Qatar state exposes the seriousness of the moment we're going through and the escalating tensions in our regions, as Israel is completely indifferent to international law and to the blood being shed, targeting Qatar, which is one of the pioneering countries leading efforts for de-escalation in Palestine, gets us away from the noble goal that we all aspire for, which is comprehensive peace, meeting the legitimate rights of the Palestinian people. The Sultanate of Oman strongly condemns this aggression and stresses its complete solidarity with Qatar leadership, government and people. And here we stress that the Qatari security is part of the security of the entire Islamic Arab region. Today, what we are facing should not only be condemned, but it requires tangible actions, especially at the legal and diplomatic levels. We must take steps through the United Nations Security Council and the General Assembly to employ the international law to stop Israel and hold it accountable for its crimes. Let's work together to stop this dangerous path threatening the international peace and security. The Omani Sultanate believes that the silence of the international community before such crimes encourages impunity and more further aggressions. Here we call for this meeting to be a start for serious unified steps to translate the Arab-Islamic solidarity into tangible situations, stances, and real pressure to end the occupation and stop the aggressions due to the international legitimacy resolutions. Your Excellency, Your Majesty's Highnesses, Excellencies, our meeting today is held to stress that the Arab and Islamic nations are able to face challenges if unified. And we are certain that unity is the best course to maintain the shared interests of our nations. Thank you, and may peace be upon you. Thank you, Your Highness. And now we listen to the Deputy Prime Minister of the Turkmenistani Republic. May peace be upon you, Your Royal Highness Tamim bin Hamad, Prince of Qatar, Your Majesties, Highnesses, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. At first, I would like to express the greetings of the President of Turkmenistan to Qatar and the Qatari people, and to the entire presence. This extraordinary summit comes in a very critical moment in the Qatari capital, Doha. We condemn the aggression launched by Israel against the sovereignty of Qatar. Turkmenistan expresses its condolences to the families of the victims. Using force as a means to settle disputes is not acceptable, and it represents a violation of the UN charters. And on these basis, this flagrant aggression launched by Israel is a provocation and a way to undermine the efforts of mediation, and also it threatens the international peace and security. We believe that each action to reinforce the international peace and security must be supported and reinforced by the international community, and we shall stand against the use of force violating the sovereignty of a state. This highlights the importance of building mutual confidence among our peoples, and we gather here today to renew our shared commitment to the basic principles that must pave the way to our future regarding prevailing peace and security. And here we believe that the common efforts to help meet our common goals, such as mutual respect and respecting the sovereignty and the territorial integrity of other states. Using peaceful and diplomatic means to settle dispute is essential as a basic means to reinforce peace and security. We must also encourage the prevention of any aggressive act again that violates the international principles, and this must be taken under consideration by the United Nations and all relevant parties. There must be security preventive measures set forth. The unity of the Islamic nation today is highly essential, and it must be under the umbrella of the Islamic Organization for Cooperation. This is the only way to maintain peace for the member states in the organization, and we also support the international peace and security and the humanitarian efforts taken in this regard to safeguard our shared heritage. Also, I would like to express my gratitude to His Royal Highness Tamim bin Hamad II for initiating the holding this summit. Now I pass the floor to His Excellency Jehan Bermouf, the Foreign Minister of Azerbaijan.
Honorable Chair, distinguished Secretary General, Excellencies. At the outset,
Honorable Chair, Your Majesties, Highnesses, Excellencies, Secretary General of the United Nations and of the Islamic Cooperation Organization, thank you so much for holding such an emergency summit to discuss the aggression against Qatar. We express our utter support for Qatar, and we call for the respect of the UN Charter to face such flagrant attack. Qatar has exerted a lot of efforts to de-escalate the situation in Gaza, and we praise such efforts to working on a mediation and reaching a peaceful settlement through direct negotiations. And we think that the Israeli attack is a threat that might worsen the situation in Gaza and create a humanitarian crisis, and which must be put to an end through all viable measures to avoid undermining the security situation. All stakeholders must endeavor to reach a consensus for a permanent and immediate ceasefire in Gaza. Dialogue must be fostered This tragic situation in Gaza requires an immediate response, as the situation undermines the international peace and security, and we must seek to alleviate the Palestinian suffering in Gaza. Azerbaijan commits to its unwavering stance to support the Palestinian people in Gaza, and we call for an immediate ceasefire. We also must seek to settle this dispute on the basis of the two-state solution in accordance with the international legitimacy resolutions and the United Nations, as Gaza is a part of the Palestinian state and therefore must be respected, and the basic rights of the Palestinian rights must be respected as they deserve to live with dignity without all the human rights violations, and we also must seek to de-escalate the situation. Since the beginning of the attack on Gaza, Azerbaijan worked to reinforce the efforts to provide humanitarian response and for the Gaza reconstruction, and also to support the initiative launched by the Arab world. We continue to support the Palestinian people in the field of education, and we will continue providing education grants to Palestinians. We have built schools in Nablus, and we will continue contributing to such efforts, seeking to have a peaceful settlement of the conflict. Now I pass the floor to His Excellency Foreign Minister of Bangladesh.
Your Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, Honorable Amir of Qatar.
Your Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad II, Prince of Qatar. Your Majesties, Highnesses, Excellencies, allow me at the outset to start my speech by condemning this unjustified attack launched by Israel against Qatar, as it does not only target Qatar, but it's a threat to regional peace and security. We consider this aggression a continuation of the Israeli violations. The aggression against Qatar is not an individual incident, but it's a continuation of violating the international law by Israel. It comes in a series of assassinations and killing of civilians. The Islamic nation must send a clear, strong message, and here it's about challenging the unjustified attack. We must request an immediate ceasefire. Israel must be held accountable, and measures must be taken against the provocations exerted by Israel. It's high time for us to act as a unified nation, because without our unity we will expose our sovereignty to different risks. There must be a uniform stance to hold Israel accountable and to force it to stop. We express our utter continuous support to the establishment of a Palestinian state on the borders of 1967, and we shall not stop at condemnation, but these condemnations must be translated into actions for peace and justice. We support Qatar to face any attempt by the occupation. Now we listen to the Foreign Minister of Algeria. In the name of Allah, most merciful, most gracious, Your Excellency, Chair of the Joint Arab-Islamic Summit, I am honored to read the message directed by your brother, His Excellency Abdelmajid Tebboune, President of Algeria, to this esteemed summit.
نص الرسالة الرئاسية.
The presidential
لم يعد
message.
من قبيل التطرف أو المغالاة.
It's no longer radicalism.
الجماعي
We shall say that our collective security shall not be fragmented, and what Qatar has gone through of a flagrant attack is an aggression against the entire Arab and Islamic nation, transgressing its rights and sovereignty and integrity. It's also a violation of all values and principles in which the humanity believes in. Against this attack, Algeria stands loyal to Qatar leadership, government and people, and for our brothers in this precious country to our hearts, you have our complete utter support to take all the necessary actions and measures to preserve your sovereignty and territorial integrity and to provide the due protection for your nationals. The seriousness of the current situation in the Middle East goes beyond words and terms. This is a historical phase that is critical as we cannot diagnose the current risks enough. The Israeli occupation does not see any borders or limits to its arrogance and aggressions. They also do not see any limitations to its violations to international law and the United Nations Charter and even for the coexistence principles. It is now clearly evident to everyone that the Israeli occupation only sees its security by aggressing against the others, and they only thrive on the instability of the region. And they see their security only through taking the entire region into an endless cycle of violence. It is now clear to everyone that the occupation, by its adopted aggressive policies and criminal practices, is the biggest threat to regional and international peace and security. In line with its continuous genocide of the Gazan population, this occupation did not hesitate since the beginning of this year to violate 5 states in the region: Lebanon, Syria, Yemen, Iran, and now Qatar. Each time they come close to end their aggression in Gaza, they escalate the situation and open a new front after another. They threat to demark the borders of the region after reviving the myth of Greater Israel. 2 days ago, the Security Council received a request from Algeria, supported by sisterly countries, to discuss the Israeli occupation against our sisterly countries, which is a meeting that gained a lot of momentum and sympathy with Qatar by all member states. The international community is no longer silent or lacks resolve or reserves its response to Israeli violations. Now the majority of the world is certain that Israel must be deterred and held accountable, as they see themselves as an exception to all international controls. May our resolutions be in line with this context and to stand in one line, unified, to translate the increasing awareness of the world into tangible measures to stop the arrogance of the occupier and to bring justice for the state, for the region's states, and to put an end to the entire conflict. The presidential message ends here. Thank you very much. Thank you, Your Excellency. Now I pass the floor to His Excellency Zembe Kolabiev, Foreign Minister of the Republic. Your Highness, Your Royal Highness, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, Your Excellencies, the Majesties, heads of delegations, may peace be upon you. Allow me at the outset to express my greetings to all the leaders present in this Arab-Islamic summit. We gather here today in Doha, the Qatari capital, and you know the reason for our gathering is the blatant violations launched by Israel against Qatar, which is a breach of international law. This aggression against Qatar is a huge concern to us all. When Israel launched this aggression against Qatar, it violated the international law and the United Nations Charter, as well as it was prejudice to the sovereignty of Qatar, which is a serious threat. The Kazakhstan Republic condemns this attack, as such kind of attacks must be strongly condemned, and we offer our condolences to the families of the victims, and we wish for a speedy recovery for all the injured. The sisterly state of Qatar has a long history working with the international community to ensure peace and security through mediation efforts, and this has been going for long years. The Doha for long was a center for a platform for dialogue. And in this context, the attack against Doha is a flagrant violation against international law, and it undermines the peace and security efforts. The Israeli actions will undermine any efforts leading to peace, and we shall adopt a unified stance and tangible measures to challenge these Israeli acts. Your Majesties, Highnesses, Excellencies, we express we encourage the international peace principles in the face of the Israeli efforts to destabilize the region. We renew our stance once again for a just peace with the establishment of an independent Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as capital. And we stand against the ongoing Israeli military aggression in Gaza. We call upon the international community to take immediate measures, and we renew our call for the international community to stand against such provocations. We support all joint initiatives for peace, for comprehensive peace and putting an end to conflicts in the region. In these tragic situations, we need collective efforts to overcome this crisis and to take the necessary measures in this regard. Thank you, Your Excellency. Now I pass the floor to His Excellency Sugianov, the Foreign Minister of Indonesia. May peace be upon you, Your Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad II, Prince of the State of Qatar, Majesties, Highnesses, Excellencies, Head of OIC. I would like at the beginning to express our appreciation to His Royal Highness Sheikh Tamim for hosting the summit and for the warm reception. And I would like to start with conveying the greetings of the Indonesian President, who appreciates the importance of such summit as he commends the efforts exerted by Qatar to host the summit. The aggression against Doha in September 9 was completely unacceptable. The Qatari efforts to reinforce the mediation is very commendable, and we renew our praise to Qatar for its peace efforts and endeavors. We would like to offer our condolences to the families of the victims, and we wish a speedy recovery to the injured. We strongly condemn the attack launched against Qatar, which is a flagrant violation to the international law and the UN Charter. Also to the principles of the OIC. It's not now an aggression against the sovereignty of Qatar, but it's aggression against the international peace and security, to dialogue, to negotiations. What we have seen is not an individual incident, but it is a continuation of the Israeli impunity. The Palestinian cause is not only Palestinian, it is the cause of the dignity of all of our peoples and nations. Your Majesties, Highnesses, Excellencies, as indicated by the speakers before me, this summit must come with a response, a collective response expressing the unity of our peoples and nations, and we must all collectively condemn Israeli actions. And we must call upon the international community to bear its responsibility, taking tangible measures to avoid repeating such attacks. We must also support the member states to overcome such crisis, and we must tackle the root causes of the conflict, which is the Israeli occupation of Palestine. The only solution here is to establish an independent Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as capital. We must work side by side in the framework of the international law. It is high time for the OIC to stand resilient to protect the international law. Now I pass the floor to the Foreign Minister of Tunisia. Thank you, Your Excellency. In the name of Allah, most merciful, most gracious, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon Prophet Muhammad. Your Majesties, Highnesses, Excellencies, I would like to expressed to His Royal Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad and to all of your excellencies and highnesses the greetings of President Qais Said and his solidarity and sympathy with the state of Qatar, leadership, government and people against the violation committed by Israel, and I wish for the Arab-Islamic Summit success held in Doha, the Qatari capital, and we're thankful for the Qatari brothers for the warm hospitality and the organization. Your Excellencies, our extraordinary summit today comes in a critical moment where our region is going through, and our region now is seeing very evidently before the entire international community the true face of the Israeli occupation and its arrogance, as now it is an anti-peace entity and a destabilizing party in the region for 2 years now of ongoing genocide and the starvation policy adopted against the Palestinian population and the flagrant, blatant violations to the rights and sovereignty of Lebanon, Syria and Iran, as the violations of the Zionist entity now is aggressing against Qatar. We support and express our complete solidarity with Qatar to protect and defend its sovereignty and territorial integrity, as the Zionist entity now targeting this mediating state in the ceasefire in Gaza negotiations proves the occupation's rejection to any peaceful paths to stop the killing and genocide against the Palestinian and Arab peoples, and adopting the policy of escape and imposing a new de facto in the region, thinking that such practices will break the determination of the Palestinian people and will be able to terrorize the Islamic and Arab people, and therefore they will be enabled to impunity. It is now evident, after the ongoing violations committed by Israel against the Arab world, that the Israel is undoubtedly refusing the existence of an Arab world, as now the entire region is exposed to the violations of Israel, and we shall stress from this platform that the national security of the Arab world is integral, and we must stand unified against all the threats imposed by Israel to peace and security, not only in the region but in the entire world, as well as intensifying the actions of the Arab-Islamic group to fail this serious scheme targeting our unity and our peoples. It is a historical moment, an opportunity to stress the capabilities of the League of Arab States and the OIC to deal with such challenges, so that the Islamic unity stands with solidarity, unity, and the one faith. Your Majesties, Highnesses, Excellencies, Tunisia calls upon the international community, especially the UN Security Council, to bear its legal and moral and human responsibility and to take serious measures to put an end to the Israeli arrogance, stopping the starvation and killing on Palestinian territories immediately and permanently. We also stress on the necessity of communication and liaison with all the international stakeholders to stop the crimes of the Israeli occupation and to put an end to its occupation over the Gaza Strip, maintaining our credibility and the stakeholders' credibility. The Security Council has an integral part to play to maintain international peace and security, and with re-stressing the Tunisian support to the sisterly state of Qatar, we renew our stance supporting the Palestinian people to regain their rights that are not subject to the statute of limitations, with the completely sovereign state of Palestine with East Jerusalem as capital, and we hope that this extraordinary summit in Doha will result in tangible measures that meet the aspirations of our peoples and strengthen our support to the struggles of the Palestinian people to establish an Arab vision as a strategic option to stand against all the threats imposed by the occupation state to international peace and security. The entire Arab and Islamic nations have enough components to regain confidence in its potential and human belongings to lift the injustice and bring victory to the righteous party to prevail human justice, and which forces each perpetrator in such crimes, testing the patience of an entire nation that will regain its rights due to the determination of its peoples and its leadership. This determination and resolve will not disappear, however the challenges are. Thank you, may peace be upon you. Thank you, Your Excellency. Now I pass the floor to His Excellency Saidov, the Deputy Prime Minister of Kazakhstan. In the name of Allah, most merciful, most gracious, may peace and blessings be upon Prophet Muhammad, Your Excellency, Chair, heads of delegations. Allow me to express the greetings of the Prince of Qatar, and the participants in today's summit. I am honored to participate in this important event and to deliver the speech on behalf of the President of Uzbekistan. In the name of Allah, most merciful, most gracious, Your Excellency, Chair, heads of delegations, I am honored to express my utter respect to the participants in such an event in solidarity with the sisterly state of Qatar and to discuss the important events of concern to the entire Islamic nation. Our hearts were completely shattered with the incident in Qatar, such threat to the sovereignty of Qatar, which has been only keen on settling disputes through diplomatic channels, is a threat to the entire Middle East region. This attack came in a time where new plans for ceasefire in Gaza were being discussed. It is an evil hit against the efforts of dialogue. it's not only, it is a flagrant violation of international law. The special statement by the UN Security Council indicates the seriousness of this issue. Qatar has all the right to take any measures to protect the sovereignty of its lands by any measures, and therefore the efforts exerted by His Royal Highness to settle the dispute through diplomatic challenge is a testament to his wisdom and his keenness on the safety, peace, and security of the region. This painful incident is a serious threat to international peace, and we are all well aware of that. Uzbekistan strongly condemns such behavior, and we stress our unwavering stance supporting peace in the Middle East, and we call the international community to take the necessary measures not to worsen the situation. Unfortunately, this is not the only emergency the Middle East is going through. The bloody attacks that is now continuing for 2 years are escalating day by day, and now it's expanding to include other states. The UN resolutions must be respected, and I would like to stress that the military attacks that end the life of innocent people, women and children, completely contradicts with all international principles and worsens the humanitarian situation. In this context, we are hopeful that the UN Security Council resolution will pay its fruits. Esteemed attendees, Uzbekistan supports all diplomatic channels to resolve any dispute, and we are hopeful for joint political determination to develop effective solutions to be applied as soon as possible. We would like to stress our unwavering stance towards the establishment of an independent Palestinian state and to support the outcomes of the last year's summit held in Saudi Arabia, and we have received a number of Palestinians harmed in the conflict to our state. We are providing medical, social and physical support, and a special fund was established to such service. We are hopeful that our meeting today is a solution to the Middle East crisis. We wish success for His Highness Tamim bin Hamad Al-Thani to unite the Islamic world. Thank you. This was the message of Uzbekistan President. May peace be upon you. Thank you, Your Excellency. Now I pass the floor to His Excellency Muhammad Jalou, the Vice President of Gambia. In the name of Allah, most merciful, most gracious, Your Royal Highness, the Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad II, Prince of Qatar, our host and the chair of this emergency summit, Your Majesties, Highnesses and Excellencies, Your Excellency Ahmed Abul Ghaid, Secretary General of the League of Arab States and the Secretary General of the OIC, esteemed ministers, it's a great honor to address this extraordinary summit which is highly significant, on behalf of the Republic of Gambia and His Excellency President of Gambia, I would like to seize this opportunity to express our deep appreciation and gratitude to His Excellency Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, as well as the people of Qatar, to host such an important summit in a very critical moment for the Arab region and the Middle East. I would like to thank Qatar for the warm hospitality and for the facilitations for our having us in Doha. I would also like to appreciate the efforts exerted by Saudi Arabia and the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz, also the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. God save them, and thank you for your efforts in protecting peace and security in the region. Also, the Secretary General of the League of Arab States and its efforts in cooperation with the OIC and the League of Arab States for the common shared interests of our people under the leadership of Your Majesties, Highnesses, Excellencies. The ongoing war in Gaza led to the killing of many women and children, and for the surviving ones to lose any opportunities of care or education. Thousands of children in Gaza are now living through a starvation, a famine, as more than 62,000 people were martyred in this long war. Your Majesties, Highnesses and Excellencies, the closure, the siege led to a crisis in the Gaza Strip, and therefore we must request and demand the Security Council to provide an unhindered humanitarian aid access to the Gazan population. Gambia strongly condemns the aggression launched by Israel against Qatar, as it violates the sovereignty of the state and the principles of international law. The government of Gambia expresses its appreciation to Qatar and its solidarity with Qatar through this critical timing, and we stress the necessity of ensuring the sovereignty of Qatar and its territorial integrity. International community must take immediate steps to ensure non-impunity of Israel. Gambia is completely committed to dialogue and coexistence among states to reinforce the international and global efforts to preserve peace and security in the Middle East and abroad. I would also like to commend the endeavors of Qatar to mediate the dispute, and here I would like to indicate the Arab initiatives and the establishment of a Palestinian state to preserve peace and security in the region. Esteemed President, Gambia calls upon the international community and condemns any establishment of settlements in violation of Security Council resolutions, and this resolution condemning new settlements by Israel and the Israeli violations in Jerusalem and on Palestinian territories must be addressed, which is essential for peace in the Middle East. This is the only way for a political path to resolve the situation, is the two-state solution, and to guarantee the legitimacy and to ensure self-determination and the inalienable rights of the Palestinian people. We call upon the Arab world to mobilize support for the Palestinian people It is essential, and Gambia supports the global recognition of a Palestinian state. Our efforts must not decline in this regard, and we commend the efforts of Saudi Arabia and France for co-chairing the UN conference to settle the Palestinian-Israeli dispute and to support the two-state solution. We also support the follow-up conference to be held during September in New York. We would like to stress that this is highly important to the international community and for the Arab-Islamic nation to have solidarity and unity to guarantee an unhindered humanitarian aid access into Gaza and Palestinian territories. Our efforts must be coordinated for a diplomatic solution for peace and security in the region. Thank you for listening. Thank you. Now we will consider the final communique for adoption. The communique is adopted. In the conclusion of our summit, I would like to extend my gratitude to Your Majesties, Highnesses and Excellencies for taking the invitation and for your effective participation in our summit and for your commitment to support the state of Qatar after the cowardly attack it was exposed to. I would like to renew our thanks to the OIC Secretary General and to the Secretary General of the League of Arab States for organizing this summit, and we wish the success to the best interest of our peoples. Thank you, and may peace be upon you.
Donc nous venons d'assister, chers téléspectateurs, à une transmission en direct à partir de Doha, la capitale qatarienne, pour vous transmettre